Hello again and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to address something that a lot of people have brought up and that obviously was a critical issue to me, still is, and I want to talk about how I got over the narcissist. Another way you could put it is, how did I heal from narcissistic abuse? Something that's important to every one of us. I'm going to go over today my personal story about how this works. At least it worked for me. I know that some of you can resonate. I'm not saying every one of these things is exactly how you would recover from narcissistic abuse or how you have done it or are doing it, but I know that some of these things are going to be applicable to everybody. But this is my own personal account, and I hope it helps you in some way. So basically, how I did it, I raced out of the narcissistic relationship, jumped right into another one, and the person was perfect, and she fulfilled my life in every way, and I've been good ever since. Not. I'm going to talk about that at the end, other relationships. But just know that is not how it happened. In fact, as you guys can attest, it does not come easy, and it does not come cheap or quick. So here is actually some of the things that I did. The first one is, I got the knowledge. Knowing is, I don't know, 80–90% of the battle. It is a huge part of it. And I did a reel on this recently. Most people never figure out what narcissism is. They don't ever get there. It truly does take, I think, an act of God. Something very critical to happen for you to even understand I was with a narcissist. Wow. I'm not going to go into great detail about how I figured it out. Just know, about a couple months after the relationship ended, I saw a post someone made about narcissism from just an acquaintance on Facebook. And I thought, wow, that's describing something that she would do. Narcissism. Well, I mean, I've heard of narcissism, but I started to look it up. Okay, so what really is narcissism? Got a few definitions on my favorite search browser, and I thought, wow, okay, so there's more to this than I thought. Got on YouTube and started searching narcissism. Bada boom, bada bing. Lisa LeBlanc pops up, and she does a quick dive into the steps, the playbook of what they do to ensnare you. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this is it. I was dating a textbook female covert narcissist. And that was a giant light bulb moment. And from then on, it was binge watching videos, and the path had begun. But got the knowledge, number one, critical. That's why you need to tell people. You got to tell people and pass it on once you understand it, because you are liberating people with this knowledge. You guys know what it's like. Imagine if nobody had ever told you, or you'd never found out. So that's the first step. Second step is a huge one. This is one I tell people, so critical. Isolation. I don't know, I'm only speaking for myself, but when I came out of that relationship, for probably 3, 4, 5 months, all I wanted to do was be alone. I didn't want to be around virtually anyone. My daughter, still loved to be around her, but otherwise, no offense to anyone in my life, it wasn't about that. I just had to be alone. And the reason is, you have to detox from these relationships. The venom, it's like a drug addiction, and it gets in you, and you have these spiritual ties and these connections to this person. And the only way that I found that was really successful in this detox, which I didn't know it was at the time, but I was detoxing, I had to get alone. I would go for walks 2–3 hours long. I walk all the time anyway, but I'd go for extended long walks, and I would be in the middle of nowhere, paths through the woods. I'd go at night. I'd be out pitch black, middle of absolutely nowhere, where most people would probably be afraid to go, I guess. But it felt so good to be alone. It felt so good. I would have dreams, or just imagine myself in the middle of like Antarctica in an igloo with just the bare necessities and me. Nobody within 50 miles, because I wanted to be that alone. It just felt good. My body and my mind was repairing itself by being isolated. Self-isolation. Critical. Huge for me. 3, talking to select people. There were a couple people in my life who understood it. A couple people, one a relative, one a friend or two, who they had actually been through similar things. And I didn't really know that at the time, but they had. And we got to talking about it, and most people can't relate at all. You start to explain it to them, and I experienced this, and they try for a little while. They do try, but they just can't get it. At some point, they're like, you're not even attempting to move on. I mean, what's wrong? I mean, just get over her. Just move on. Because they don't get it. It's not the relationship you can just move on from like nothing. You have to heal hugely. So I talked to select people. Really had great conversations with them. They were there for me. Again, just a couple people. But they too had experienced it. And in fact, one of them, I had enlightened about this because they dealt with this all their lives, but didn't know it was narcissism until I brought it up because I discovered it and I passed it on. And then the light bulb went off for them, and they're like, oh my gosh, my brother and sister this whole time, that's what it was. And so we could share stories and talk back and forth, and that was great. That was very helpful. If you have even one person you can do that with, you know how much it helps. 4, videos. Just like the one you're watching right now. I know, and I'm thankful, and I'm so honored to help people that are watching this. I really hope my stuff is helping you. And know that I watched other people, and they helped me a lot when I started figuring it out. Like I said, Lise LeBlanc was the first one that I came across. Her name is spelled Lise. If you just look her up, narcissism. I looked up Narcology Unscripted, Narc Daily, Hario. One of my favorites I still listen to a lot is The Game Exposed with Yaz. I would recommend those. Soldier Up Productions, a friend of mine, he's got a good channel too. But I liked to get different perspectives and different views because they all offer a different angle on this and different ways of looking at it. So for a long time, I binge watched just over and over these videos, and they were soothing. They were healing. It was affirmation of, man, I went through this. Because for so long, you have to continuously have it affirmed. Yes, this was what it was. Yes, it was that bad. Yes, you will get better. You will heal. It will. So the videos are crucial, and I hope that I am doing that for you guys right now, some of you watching this. So don't ever become reliant on the videos as in a long-term fix to where you're so obsessed with the videos, they become your new obsession instead of the narcissist. Don't do that, but also don't feel bad about keeping them in your repertoire for as long as you want, because you're just brushing up at some point. Even when you're healed, it's still fascinating, and you still want to brush up and learn more about this so you can help yourself and help others. So video is huge. 5, I totally understand that some people are going to, guys, it's no offense to anybody who feels this way, but a lot of people who watch these videos don't understand the spiritual nature of narcissism. These people do tremendous evil. They plot, they scheme, manipulation and cheating, lying. They can't tell the truth to save their lives. Triangulation. They're gaslighting, hiding things from you, making fun of you, cutting, criticizing, stonewalling, where you get nothing. It's like going into a brick wall. They give you nothing. Silent treatment, where they won't even speak to you. Guys, these are evil things. If those aren't considered evil or sinful behaviors or wicked traits, what is? So there's a spiritual nature that can't be ignored. It's the backbone of narcissism. And Satan himself is the chief narcissist, and they get it honest. They get it from their master. All of this is to say, prayer and spiritual disciplines. My walks, going back to my walks, the whole time I would walk, I would talk to God, pray relentlessly, ask for wisdom, ask Him to help me. God is the great therapist. You think that you have to go to a human therapist. If you go to one, that's fine. But understand, the great therapist, the most helpful, beneficial, wise expert on narcissism and everything is God, Christ Himself. And that was therapy. Every walk was therapy. Not saying I got audible responses where I heard the voice of God physically or audibly, however you want to put it. But yes, I got plenty of speaking from God, plenty of feelings, intuitions, the sorts of things the Spirit of God gives you. And those spiritual disciplines of walking, constant prayer, it was an ongoing dialogue with God all the time. Still is, but it was essential for healing. Bible reading. And someone asked me recently, I don't think there's a particular regimen or passages that you need to read. There are things that relate to narcissism. I bring them up a lot. 2 Timothy 3, 1-5 describes narcissism perfectly. Jesus' parable of the weeds in Matthew 13. There's all sorts of things, but really it's just diving into Scripture and dedicating yourself to study and knowing and finding different ways to bolster your faith. So spiritual disciplines, tremendous, huge part of the healing process. 6, when I got to a point where I knew I was well into the healing path, I wasn't trauma bonded anymore. I wasn't agonizing over this person. And then I started to feel a very, very distinct call to say, okay, well, now it's time for you to start passing this on to other people. I think I do have a unique experience. I've only had one true narcissist in my life, but she was so textbook. You've got to believe me. She checked every single box and then some to perfection. I got a very direct blast of venom, of toxic venom in the face. And then through the spiritual insights that I gained in knowing God, also my work in writing and videos and books and stuff before this, spiritually, I think they've sort of combined to give me at least a unique perspective on this. So God was saying, you're in a place now where it's time to start passing this on to other people. And not only has this been beneficial to others, but this has been huge in my healing process. Just to get these things out, to talk about them, it has been tremendous. And I've also gained wisdom as I've done the videos. So I'm not saying that I'm the expert of all experts, nothing like that. And I'm not saying everybody should start a YouTube channel to do narcissism. It's not for everyone. And it doesn't make me better or you worse or anything else because I started a channel. I just felt compelled. I just knew I had to do it. And it's been great. So that was a big step in healing as well, to actually get it out, to have specific themes, to think through it for the cause of doing videos. So those are the major ways that I really healed, guys. Timeline, it is different for everyone. I know some of you guys have been healing for years, and there's no shame in that. Don't ever feel bad. I just told someone who commented, it takes as long as it takes. It just does. Don't beat yourself up if you have setbacks. The healing path kind of looks like you're constantly going in the right direction, but there's going to be these little ebbs and flows, and sometimes they go down far, and sometimes you shoot up really high. But this is kind of what it looks like. But all the while, you know you're moving in the right direction. And little by little, you wake up and you say, I'm better. I'm better than I was yesterday. I'm better than I was a month ago. I'm clearly improving. And then maybe you have a setback and something triggers you a little bit. And you're like, but you know you're still better off than the last time you got triggered. You guys know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you have these big bursts where God just does something amazing. Or you have a breakthrough and you say, oh, wow, I just gained about 5 levels. Oh my gosh, that was huge. Some morning when you're taking a walk or driving somewhere, or it's different. You just know you've reached a new level. Drop comments if you can attest to something like that. So don't beat yourself up for how long it takes. I would say that I was deeply trauma bonded for 3 or 4 months. And then I had residuals for several months. And then you get to the place, where you don't pine after them at all. And then you get to a place where you almost feel sorry for them. At least I do a little bit. Then you get to a place where you're just kind of indifferent and you just don't care about what happens to them one way or the other. Look, preferably, their life should fall apart. They're evil. they're evildoers, and they're digging a pit, and they'll fall into it in many ways. But you're not sitting back anymore waiting, going, come on, oh, why is it still going well? Why are they still in the relationship? Is it working? Is it? You just stop doing that at some point. That's I think the place to be. I always prayed, I knew where I wanted to get was to a place where I wasn't angry and I didn't feel sorry for them and I didn't look for their downfall. Or what I wanted to get to was a place where I was just, I nothinged this person. I nothing her. It's like she doesn't exist. Because when you get down to it, they don't. They are a vapor. The person you fell in love with never existed. They're just not real. And that's another big turning point. When you come to realize, who and what am I missing? This person literally never existed to begin with. That was a big turning point for me. When you not just think it, but you feel it. You know it. You know it's true. So that said, I'm going to wrap up this video, but I want to leave two things before I do. So I told you how I healed, and I think many of those, or all of them, are great suggestions for you guys. Two things that you absolutely should not do in recovering and healing from narcissistic abuse. First one is clear and obvious. Do not ever take the narcissist back. Don't accept their Hoover. Don't let them convince you that things have changed. Don't let them tell you any sob story. Don't let them have a crack. Don't respond to an email. Don't respond to a note that's left on your porch or something in your mailbox. If they bump into you at the grocery store someday down the road, no, nothing. Zero. Nada. No contact. Don't let them Hoover. Don't give them an inch. And don't speak to people who know the narcissist if you can avoid it. So yeah, no contact, period. I know that's a basic thing we hear a lot, but it is true. You got to cut them out of your life. Number two, though, to not do, I can't stress this one enough. Do not race off, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, as a joke. Do not race off and get yourself into another relationship right after the narcissist. I know we're tempted to do it. I was tempted to do it because you have this big void in you. You're so trauma bonded, and they make you codependent. They make you feel like you have got to have someone in your life. And so your first reaction, whether you discarded them or vice versa, is to race out and say, I gotta have somebody else. Where's it gonna? Let me get on a dating site. Worst thing you can do, filled with toxic people, married people, engaged, and otherwise many folks you wouldn't want to be with, and every once in a blue moon, someone is decent, not worth the risk. I'm not going to go into detail about I hate dating sites. You guys know I do. But how am I going to do it? Where am I going to find somebody? No. You have got to get right in your own life first. You got to heal from these relationships. You've got to do a lot of time. You have to spend a lot of time on yourself. You've got to get yourself right to a point where you do not need anyone. Remember something. One of the biggest problems and one of the things that makes the narcissist and unable to change is that they race off to one relationship after another. They spend no downtime in between, which means they don't think through what they did. They don't heal. They don't introspect. They don't spend a second thinking about what they did wrong, what they can correct. They don't do any of those things. And that is precisely why the narcissist is doomed to repeat the same cycle forever. When we race off and try to get with people, boom, 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 we are doing what the narcissist does, and we're repeating the pattern that makes them such a big failure. Gotta take your time. Heal. Go slow. Fix anything you need to fix in your life, because they make you a codependent. Break the codependency. Get good in your life where you don't need to have anyone to be happy. You're good. You got to get there, I'm telling you. Otherwise, you're not going to be good for yourself, and you're not going to be good for somebody else. So, I'm going to wrap it up here. But those are the ways that I overcame the trauma bond and beat the narcissist. This is how I got over them. So, some do's and some don'ts. I hope they're useful for you guys. Appreciate all the comments. Please drop more if you have more to add to this. But I'll be at you with another one later this week. Until then, God bless.